I'm Bill Evans, and this is episode 11 of Thoughts from a Tolerant Man. Whether you're on a bicycle crossing the country or just driving home after a day of teaching, the road has a way of presenting you with things you didn't expect. On a cross-country bike ride, you experience things differently than you do in a car. Even something as simple and unpleasant as roadkill becomes more pronounced. Over time, I got to the point where I could tell just from the smell what species I was approaching. But this story isn't really about that. One afternoon, driving home on Long Island after a day of teaching, I noticed something moving in the road ahead of me. As I got closer, I saw that it was a large turtle. The road wasn't busy, but I didn't like the turtle's chances, so I slowed down, pulled over, and put on my emergency flashers. I got out of the car and walked toward him. As I approached, he actually picked up speed a little, but cars were still coming and I knew he wasn't going to make it safely across. So I bent down, picked him up with both hands, and carried him across the road in the direction that he was heading. I set him down near a park-like area. He paused for just a moment, almost as if he looked back, and then continued on his way. I got back in my car, feeling pretty good about myself. I had helped one of God's creatures. A few weeks later, on a different road, I almost came across the exact same situation. Another turtle in the road, moving across. I actually laughed to myself thinking, is this going to be my new job, official turtle rescuer? So I did the same thing. I pulled over, turned on my flashers, and got out. This turtle was a little bigger, maybe 16 to 18 inches across, but this time something was different. He was not trying to get away. As I reached down and put my hands on either side of his shell, he suddenly stretched out his neck, whipped around his head, and snapped at my hand. The speed of that movement changed everything. I could still hear the sound of his mouth closing, just missing my fingers. This wasn't the same situation. This was a snapping turtle, and in that moment I realized that he could easily have taken off a finger or worse. Needless to say, I stepped back, and this time I let him make his own way across the road. What I learned in that moment was simple. I had assumed this situation was the same as the one before it. It wasn't. The first turtle needed help. The second one didn't want it and could have hurt me for trying. In life, we do that all the time. We take one experience and we apply it to the next person, the next situation, the next moment. We assume that we understand what we're dealing with. But not every situation is the same. Not every person is the same. And sometimes what we think is help isn't. In episode 4, I talked about rescuing my dog Liberty from an animal shelter. That worked out pretty well. Clearly, I was better with dogs than with turtles. But the lesson stayed with me. Not everything that crosses your path needs to be picked up. Sometimes it just needs to be understood and left alone. And that's a thought from a tolerant man.